Hello indie game fan, there's one particular game in this list that I never expected to see get an update, so it really was a surprise, but let's begin with Cyclo Chambers, a recently released Vampire Survivors style Bullet Heaven roguelite where you're attempting to defeat a bunch of one-eyed monsters. Thankfully, the flood of these games have slowed somewhat, so we're not absolutely spammed with these, but it's pretty good so far and it's a little similar to Brotato and is worth a look.
This place looks incredible!
I know! And I've got something special for the person who helped make it happen.
The long-lasting influence of Stardew Valley is also apparent on indie games, where Wylde Flowers is an underrated one of these, a witchy life sim title where you're farming by day and training to be a witch by night, where they just released the Violet's Boutique update with a whole bunch of new outfits and a much requested photo mode, as well as the usual tweaks and changes and new content.
It looks like I need a wedding dress.
I could totally use a wardrobe update.
This video is brought to you by Ozymandias, the latest DLC for this underrated strategy title, which is set in the Bronze Age. The core appeal of this game is that it simplifies the 4X experience while still retaining enough depth to be of interest, where if you don't want a campaign to last tens of hours but prefer a more bite-sized option, then this will be the title for you. Along with the new map are some tweaks and fixes, with new opportunity cards that may just swing the tide of the game for you, where it has decent AI and even multiplayer support, so if you love strategy games, pick this up via the link in the description below.
Throughout the ages, Aethys saw countless heroes transcend the limits of their mortal bodies. For eons, their spirits slumbered within the realm of the Paragons. But as the Trinity Night draws near, something darker, something sinister disturbs their sleep, and we must answer their calls.
Speaking of DLC, another one of interest might be Asterigos Call of the Paragons, an add-on to a well-received action-adventure title which released in October last year, although unfortunately, this DLC is rubbing people the wrong way. This update adds a new area, 7 new bosses, a new outfit, more stories, and an extended weapon modding system, where the lack of content for the price is the main sticking point, but it might be of interest if you're a die-hard fan of the game. The developer of Basements and Basilisks, Storms of Sorcery, did reach out, and to be honest, it's not really my kind of game, but I do think there's something here, especially if you're familiar with tabletop RPGs like Dungeons and Dragons. It self-describes as a visual novel, taking you through a homemade campaign with AI characters, where you have to make decisions and roll dice, where, like its real-life equivalent, it's more about getting to know the other players as you adventure through the world created by the DM, with a healthy dose of humour sprinkled in as well. I was surprised to see Diary of Lucie on the list of new releases, where this long in development action roguelite did finally release out of early access after 5 years. The first thing that you will notice is the visuals, where most interestingly, this was made in RPG Maker, where wrangling that engine to make a game like this seems impressive to me as a non-technical person. The bullet hell inspired action looks awesome, where it's not as stiff as you would expect of an RPG Maker game, making it a hidden gem to check out. The story of No Man's Sky's development is certainly worth telling, perhaps at another time, where it went from being overpromised and overhyped at release to actually making good on their promises and even adding new features that delighted players, with the Fractal update being the 19th and latest named update, all for free might I add. This adds a new expedition titled Utopia, as well as a new starship, added the Wonders catalogue, which shows off the most incredible things that you came across, added a whole bunch of accessibility features, and even overhauled their VR support, where this has now become one of those forever games like Stardew Valley or Terraria, and is insane value for money.
Since I first left this room and handed over control to my shaken mind, it has repeated these scenarios where I have just the power to meet any challenge I face.
I'm sure that you will understand my surprise when I saw Cloud Built pop its head up with a new update, since this game was released way back in 2014, where somehow, in 2023, this got a new major update. It seems to be primarily focused on the custom levels mode where you're able to play other people's creations, although the developer did add 15 new levels of their own, with various tweaks and upgrades including improved gamepad support. For all the complaining that people do on how games are never complete these days, it's kind of wild to see a 9-year-old game still being updated and supported, so that's one in the positive column for digital games. A title that I thought had promise but didn't quite pan out is Citadelic, a roguelite defense title where you're building up your citadel, complete with towers all around, in order to fend off incoming waves of enemies. In some ways, you can see this being as a subset of the Vampire Survivors style game, but where you're completely stationary, where the minimalist visuals and tower defense strategy looked neat, but I believe it was released as a surprise, which is not a good idea, especially for indie developers. I do quite like the look of this game in that it's a pixel art tower defense game which released out of early access, but does add in roguelite and deck building elements, where among the games on this list, it is one of the better performing ones, so check out Tower Tactics Liberation, where you can watch this video for more upcoming pixel art games.